Holden's proud to be the driving force behind the ANZ Championship and proud to bring you all new Holden crews. Coming soon.
The Queensland Firebirds currently sit in 5th position with Romelda Aitken, the Jamaican superstar, the most prolific scorer in the competition. Tonight they take on the 4th place Southern Steel from New Zealand. The last final spot is up for grabs tonight. The big story though is that Danica Whippieti, the #1 goal scorer for the Steel, is pregnant and will not play again this season. Her replacement is the Australian Megan Dean, who had an agreement pre-season to play with the Firebirds but chose not to. Controversially, she will start in the goal shooter position tonight for the Southern Steel. Good evening and welcome to Monday Night Netball from the Brisbane Convention Centre. Liz, Megan Dean going to start for the Steel tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting stuff. She's come into the team late due to Danica Whippieti's pregnancy. She's not coming to this team cold though. She did have a season with the Steel last year, so she is familiar with the team. Interestingly though, Steel picked up Leah Shaw, the former Swifts player this year. Leah spent almost all season on the bench, and that is where she's going to stay tonight. Dean straight into the team and straight on the court.
Let's take a look at the games completed so far in round 12. The Mystics beaten by the Vixens in New Zealand. The Thunderbirds accounted very comfortably for the Pulse. The Swifts went down to the Fever, and the game just completed in New Zealand. The Magic in a close game with the Tactics. Vicky Wilson, the coach of the Firebirds, is going to join us shortly, but the reason why tonight's game is so important is the Steel in 4th place take on Vicky Wilson's Firebirds in 5th place, and as we said, such an important game in the context of that final spot being up for grabs. Vicky, thanks for joining us. A huge game for your side, as we said, with that final spot up for grabs.
Well, it really is a season-defining game for us, and if we really are worthy of a Final Four spot, we'll have to win this game.
Vicky, we're going to take a look at your team lineup in just a second. I want to talk about first Alyssa Kostrissos. She's done really well for you when she's played goal attack, but you've been prepared to fiddle around with that goal attack position. Is that something that you'll be continuing to do towards the end of the season, or are you looking to cement someone in there early?
Well, I like to read each game, as it happens, and Lissy played really well in that Magic game. Then unfortunately she got the flu for a couple of weeks and she was out, but I thought Janelle stepped up and had a couple of good quarters, but it's consistency what we're after, that's for sure.
It does look like your team is able to make those interchanges and nobody skips a beat. Lauren Nurse is another player who's been absolutely outstanding for you guys. Are you pleased with what she's done in centre this year?
Oh, absolutely. I think she's really stepped up to the mark in that centre position, and it's a position whereby you don't have the opportunity to think, you have to be able to react, and she's doing a very good job on that.
Vicky, you're regarded as arguably the greatest ever goal scorer in Australian history. You didn't happen to catch a game yesterday afternoon, and what did you think of my form, Vicky?
Well, I think you've got a bit of potential, but I'm so glad Ellis didn't come down to the forward line because she's an absolute shocker.
Did you see her shoot that last shot? It was embarrassing, you'd have to say.
Well, the technique
it was a goal shooters club. Listen to you two. I might just move away while you two have a love
Yeah, well, the technique, it wasn't there. And Luke, I've got to say, you certainly did have an eye for the goal. So keep practicing and you could have
Thanks,
a future
Vicky.
in it.
I might be knocking on your door for a game next year. One final one before we let you go. Laura Geitz has had an outstanding year, but she gets interchanged a lot. What's the thought behind that?
Well, I suppose when a goaler starts getting a run on you and starts putting up a few goals, you've got to start looking for another answer. And the great thing we've got Demelza Fellows, who sits on the bench for us, and she does a terrific job as well. Fantastic,
Vicky. Thanks for joining us. We'll let you get back and coach the side. Good luck in tonight's game. It is a huge game for the Firebirds. As Vicky Wilson said, it is a season-defining game for them. Laura Geitz, though, has been a star. We'll have a look at her as we go to the break.
Geitz has just got such a big presence. Well, that's trouble when you put it up in front of Geitz. Oh, well picked off by Geitz. Well done from Geitz. Brilliant play.
Donna Wilkins is a fantastic athlete and all of her skills will be on show tonight. That is worth the price of admission, but what you get as a bonus to that, Luke, is Donna's facials. She's well known for them. When a defender breathes on her, she's all over the shot, but she's a fantastic athlete and she's someone who, if she fires, the Steel are a really good chance of winning tonight.
Is she talking to you after you sledged her a couple of weeks ago, called her prima donna?
I didn't make that up. I wish I had have, but I didn't, sadly. So, no, look, she's an awesome player and she's also, we saw it just at the end of that little package there, her son Cooper comes along to all of the games, so she's doing pretty well to be a new mum and playing in this elite competition.
Let's take a look at the lineup for the Southern Steel. Megan Dean is the big story, replacing Whippy Eadie. She's an Australian. She's signed on pre-season. We had an agreement pre-season to play for the Firebirds, but tonight she'll line up in the goal shooter spot for the Steel.
Yeah, and she'll be great there. What she will bring to that position is timing. She works well with Donna Wilkins. They've played together before. Megan actually played for the Steel in the pre-season competition earlier this year, so she has had a touch of this particular lineup. Dean Wilson and Liana Barrett-Chase, they probably got outplayed last weekend against the Fever. They need a big game tonight. Telfer Grant and Megan Hutton make up that defensive line.
Currently sit in 4th place, and as we've mentioned a number of times, that final spot up for grabs tonight. Now, I can't let you get away with that. Just one more reference to yesterday's game. You're a bit of a sad sack yesterday afternoon. I know you were down in the dumps after, well, let's be honest, your sport, you've been saying for 6 months, I'm going to thrash you on my own game, and then you choked, Liz, horribly choked at the crucial stage. How are you feeling?
In my defence, I was doing something that I wasn't allowed to do for my entire career. All I ever wanted to do was shoot. Now I've proved to everyone that I can't. So seriously, I am not going to live this down. Challenges to you. Can you do it again in 12 months' time?
No problems at all. You have burnt all the tapes. I was trying to show some footage of my final shot, but you can catch the replay of the celebrity game on One. It'll be on tomorrow night. I hope it'll be on for the next 4 months. Keep watching that. It was a lot of fun yesterday afternoon. More importantly, though, tonight it's Monday Night Netball. The Firebirds to take on the Southern Steel. The final 4 spot up for grabs. Who will win tonight?
Welcome back to the Brisbane Convention Centre. Monday Night Netball about to get underway. This is a huge game. 4th spot up for grabs. The final spot in the finals available. Firebirds not able to make the finals last year. Neither were the Steel. They finished in 5th and 6th respectively, Liz. And we just have seen the Allied pick the coin toss. And as we have said also, no New Zealand team has been able to win a game on Australian soil. So if the Steel can do it tonight, you'd think they'd go on and play in the finals.
You would think so. There's only 2 rounds to go after this weekend. The corresponding game last year, round 14, Steel defeated the Firebirds 54-52. Interestingly, in that game, Megan Dean proved pivotal to that win, shooting 25 from 28 at 89%. So she's got a history against the Firebirds.
Talk to you a bit more about Megan Dean in a while. Here are the matchups. We go right across the court. Geitz starts on Megan Dean. I'm not sure that will be the case, but Laura Geitz, I spoke to Vicky Wilson about her being interchanged more regularly, and she said, well, someone gets on top of her, then we're going to make a change.
And I think that's a real hallmark of the way Vicky Wilson in particular coaches. She's happy to read the game. She's happy to use players as impact players. A great example of that is Kira Tromp often does get subbed on for Claire McMenamin at that wing defence position when Vicky wants a bit of an enforcer to come out onto the court. Lauren Nurse is having a fantastic year, but Liana Barrett-Chase is one of the more exciting players at the moment going around in New Zealand. She started for the Silver Ferns at the end of last year, was absolutely outstanding, and she's been mercurial so far this season. Lissy Kostrissos gets that start at goal attack. Interesting to see if she runs out the full game as well. Romelda Aitken obviously will shoot a mountain of goals.
Good to speak to Vicky Wilson prior to the start of this game, and she mentioned about the goal attack position when you asked her, and she said, I'll pick a player that I think suits the game. So Kastrissos is going to get the start, and we'll see how the game unfolds, and I'm prepared to make changes. Allied Pickford coin toss underway.
Looks like Firebirds have won that. Taking a look at the Holden Cruise Player of the Year votes, that's a great subplot to what's going on court. All teams would love to make the finals, but all players would love to win this prize.
Sensational prize, the Holden Cruise, smart, small car, and we know how much legroom there is. This is what's available. Casey Williams has just got 3 votes in the game completed. That puts her up the top, vying with Nat Von Berto, and also a couple of the Vixens still up for grabs. Marie Bowden, Laura Geitz, Caitlin Bassett, Temapara George and Bianca Chatfield on the second page of voting lists. Probably out of contention now with a couple of games to go, but they've all had very consistent years.
And what's really interesting in that regard is the fact that the 2 on top, Nat Von Berto and Casey Williams, play for Thunderbirds and Magic respectively. They'll meet in the very last game of the round. So it'll be interesting to see. That game will not only probably determine positions in the finals, but maybe also who wins the Holden Cruise Player of the Year.
Well, we get to speak to a lot of the girls as we travel around Australia. They're very aware of the Holden Cruise. They know what an outstanding prize it is. Will it go to New Zealand? Will it come back to Australia? Casey Williams was the Player of the Year last year. There wasn't a Holden Cruise up for grabs last year, but we've certainly got that New Zealand-Australian rivalry everywhere, and it will continue tonight. Here are the Southern Steel. Got a full house in again tonight at the Brisbane Convention Centre, and a smiling Romelda Aitken runs onto the court.
That's about all the emotion that we'll see from her tonight. She's very cool and very calm. Got pigtails tonight, so I don't know what that means for her performance. Luke, I know you love to keep a track of what the girls' hair is up to. This Firebirds team, though, they've had a couple of fantastic wins here. The last time we were here talking about them, they beat the Swifts in an absolutely thrilling encounter. Last week, though, they went to New Zealand, got their colours lowered by Tactics, who are having a fantastic finish to the season. They just went down to Magic earlier tonight. So that could prove to be a really important match in their season. For these two teams now, every single point that they can get on that ladder is absolutely vital.
Let's look at the body language there of Romelda Aitken. She's up and about, she's smiling. Even in the warm-up, she was a lot more animated than normal. Nicole Cusack, former Australian superstar, is our courtside expert in Brisbane. Nicole, how do you see this match?
Well, if you look at the attack end for the Steel, there's a lot of experience there, a few years of netball, and they're up against the informed defence line of the Firebirds, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out throughout the game.
Thanks, Nicole. We'll be crossing to you regularly throughout the game. So, huge opportunity. Full house here in Brisbane. They understand the Queensland Firebirds have an opportunity to play in their first ever final series, but they need a win tonight against the Southern Steel. Lauren Nurse gets them underway, and predictably, the first possession, first shot on goal goes to Romelda Aitken, and the pigtails on display tonight. She gets the first goal.
Laura Geitz making her intentions felt early. It's great when you see a goalkeeper prepared to go out and contest that first ball, but she's given away a penalty, which sets up an easy possession for Steel.
Quick movement from the Steel, and the pass coming in very quickly from Dean Wilson.
In losing Danica Wipieti, the Steel have lost their most prolific and most accurate shooter, but what they pick up is Megan Dean. It's probably fair to say, or it's probably worth pointing out, that Megan had just a verbal agreement to play this year with the Firebirds. Due to personal reasons, she didn't want to up and leave her hometown of Sydney. So
it's fair to say that the Firebirds were disappointed. Obviously, she had her reasons, but they were disappointed that she didn't come up. And as you've said to me, a lot of times in these games, they really could have done with a goal attack. And perhaps you've even suggested Megan Dean might have elevated them to a higher level this year.
Oh, look, I think with Megan Dean out in front of Romelda Aitken, the Firebirds would have done really well in some of the games where they've needed that attacking, playmaking goal attack. Having said that, Alyssa Kastrissos, I think, has done a really good job whenever she's come onto the court this year. Janelle Lawson has started to really step up her work rate. So you can't get too caught up in the what-ifs. The great thing about watching Megan Dean play is just the movement. Her timing is spot on, and that's where she'll be most useful for the Steel in that goal shooter position.
Donna Wilkins gets the replying goal, so it's 2 goals apiece. Couple of minutes gone into the first quarter. Pass from Greenway. And there is the athleticism on display. And we often see that, a bit of a short shot and a rebound. She's the dominant rebounder in the game. Equal tallest player. And you just see a bit of physicality there that's going to be applied to it tonight. Megan Hutton, powerfully built goalkeeper. And make sure she puts a lot of pressure on her, Liz, I'm assuming. Yeah,
she will, and that's what the Tactics did particularly well last week. Sonia McCloma, England international, marked up against Romelda Aitken and gave her a pretty good working over. So sure Steele would have had a look at that and said, all right, that's how we're going to approach this game. Megan Hutton will give away plenty of penalties tonight, but she'll be hoping they're damaging ones.
Here is Megan Dean, who went back to Grant. Karina Grant. Where Tamsin Greenway climb all over it. Here's Barrett Chase. So not an easy welcome back into the top league in the competition for Megan Dean. She's going to spend a fair bit of the night opposed to Laura Geitz, who has been a dominant player this year.
Yeah, it's a tough ask for Laura Geitz, though. She's not really played against Megan Dean that much before, hasn't seen a lot of her timing and her movement. She's been used to playing against taller players who sit on the hold. That's where Geitz's strength is, so she's going to get a bit of a workout tonight, running that baseline. That's where she'll have to concentrate her energy if she's going to shut down Megan Dean.
Here's Hutton. Driving pass, and you can see the reach and the athleticism of Geitz, able to get a hand in over the top. She's been incredible at deflections, incredible at intercepts this year, and working overtime there. Shot came up short from Dean. Gets the rebound and a second miss, which might be great for her confidence early. Crowd not happy with that call. Goal to Donna Wilkins. Keep an eye on her body language and her facial expressions. Pointed it out a couple of weeks ago, Liz. She's animated.
It's great to watch. She never leaves you in any doubt as to how passionate she is for what she's doing, how much she dislikes defenders. Fair enough.
Here she is. She rocks back on the shot. She started very well.
Yeah, and that's what she's really capable of. She's a great athlete, representing New Zealand in basketball, played in the Australian Women's Basketball League, so has a great sporting background, and as a new mum, she's doing particularly well. She's built her fitness across the year just through match play. She'll need that tonight running at goal defence against Peter Stevens.
So a lot of advantage being played early. Beautiful pass on the circle to Barrett Chase, and the penalty goes against Geitz.
It's a good start for the Steel. They don't match up for height particularly well against Romelda Aitken, but they're playing a smart defensive style of play, just playing a zone defence, marking the space rather than the player. That, to some extent, negates the impact of Romelda Aitken's height. Makes it hard for the feeders to find her when she's not muscling up against someone.
So just falling offside was Barrett Chase, and that's an important turnover for the Firebirds early. 3-goal lead, chance to be extended to 4 goals. And so the Firebirds, really early on in this game, only played 5.5 minutes, but they wouldn't want to get the margin out too far beyond 3 goals.
No, they've got a great ability to score quickly through Romelda Aitken. That's a great ball in there from Tamsin Greenway. Aitken was on a really nice front hold. They can score quickly through Romelda Aitken, but you don't want to be playing catch-up netball. You know, they did it really well against the Swifts, but you don't want to be riding your luck in such an important match for your team.
Beautiful pass from McMenamin. So just a bit of a nervous start so far for the Firebirds, but great play from Greenway. Came up with an important intercept. Quickly plays it on to Nurse, and here's Kostrissos, yet to take a shot in this game. As we mentioned a lot, they really need the goal attack to just give that support to Romelda Aitken. She gets her first goal.
Interestingly, Luke, Cheryl Scanlon started this game on the bench, former New Zealand international. Gives them a huge amount of depth. Should changes need to be made.
Great defensive work there from Stevens and Geitz. Tough shot from Wilkins on the baseline. She took it anyway, but it wasn't effective. And Aitken just She can raise her elbows, Romelda. And if you're going to get physical with her, good on her. She gives a bit back.
Often umpires will let a little bit more go with a taller shooter. There's just a lot there to keep an eye on. So defensively, that's what you want to try and do. Romelda doesn't get upset very often.
You can see the physical work going on. So she's just throwing a few back, just letting Megan Hutton know that she's not going to stand for any unwarranted physicality. And as you mentioned, she's going to play for Jamaica in the Under-21 World Championship. So she's just a baby, but just, I think if they get this final spot, they could be really dangerous because Aitken has got such an ability to score so easily.
Well, I reckon Firebirds one of those teams that the top three, Magic, Vixens and Thunderbirds, are thinking, I really hope they don't get in the finals because I don't want to come up against
You reckon
them.
they'd be happier to play the Steel, happier to see the Southern Steel get the 4th spot?
Yeah, I think they will, simply because of the Romelda Aitken factor.
So, bit of contact there from Geitz. Donna Wilkins hit the floor pretty hard. And then she missed her second shot, a crucial one, but a wild pass. Strissos couldn't just get up high enough. There's the penalty so far.
Reasonably high for both teams. Queensland Firebirds.
Nice deflection from McMenamin. Really even start to this contest.
Yeah, you just sort of get the feeling that both teams are feeling their way into it. They know how much is at stake. They've got that in the back of their minds, and it just looks like it's affecting some of the things that they're doing out on court. It hasn't been a particularly attractive game so far, but there's plenty on the line, so I expect plenty of body to come into it as the game progresses.
Peter Stevens just contacting Megan Dean. She steps into the shot, gets her second goal.
And most importantly, these teams, they don't care if they don't win pretty, they just want to win.
Well, quick movement from Kastrissos, and she flicked it over nicely to Aitken.
Firebirds are really dominant when they can dominate that middle corridor of the court and then they release the ball quickly. It's really hard to slow them down. Got some great speed in Greenway and Kastrissos out the front. Great ball release from Lauren Nurse. And the big target at the back.
Her ball call going against Megan Dean. She hasn't done a pre-season, Liz, and she's certainly got the sweat going. And how will her fitness be? Surely it's got to be behind everyone else in the court because of the fact she hasn't played.
Well, her netball fitness is probably down. Having said that, though, she's an incredibly fit girl. Runs marathons for something to do. I think that's weird, but hey, she likes it. So her general fitness is good. It's just that netball-specific fitness that she'll get back. But playing in goal shooter, it's less about that actual netball fitness and just more about the timing, and that's something you just don't lose.
Contact going against Grant. I've just thrown a beautiful long ball into Aitken. Gets off the ground so well. Look at the jump. Stands at 196 centimetres from outer Aitken, and then it's got as good a vertical leap as any of the shooters that we come to see play.
So difficult to stop. When you're defending against her, you've just got to come to terms with the fact that the ball's going to go over your head a lot. And what you do need to do is just pick up the crumbs like Megan Hutton's just done. You know you're going to be the dummy on the end of the highlights reel, but you've just got to be there to do the job when there's a ball comes in that's not perfectly placed or a rebound comes your way.
Firebirds have scored 6 of the last 7 goals, trailing by 3 goals a few minutes ago, and they've been able to turn that around, although an important steadying goal there to the steal. Barrett Chase with the centre pass. Here's Megan Dean pushing out of the circle.
It's almost like Megan Dean and Donna Wilkins are playing a positional switch. Donna Wilkins coming straight back into the circle and setting up in a traditional goal shooter play, despite the fact that she's playing goal attack, and Megan Dean just pushing out of that circle.
Dean just starting to find her range. 3 from 5 after a couple of nervous misses. Scores back level, and Nurse, you often see that. She's big on the fake and genuinely delivers the ball very effectively.
Where she's really effective is when she just turns and gives the ball. She's been so good for the Firebirds this year, and centre hasn't played centre a lot. You'd think because she came from the wing attack background that her defensive game wouldn't be that good. But in fact, that's been one of the real strengths of her game this year. She's just caused havoc in that mid-court for the opposition.
You see Geitz coming out hard to apply pressure and then working back hard. Tamsin Greenway acknowledging that she did go offside.
It's good to see Greenway and Kastrissos down on that line.
Geitz just coming through and taking a lot of body with her.
Maybe not as much as was suggested.
Here's Dean rocking back, and Geitz has such ability to get up over the shot. Such a big presence inside the circle. Made it hard for Megan Dean.
I reckon what Geitz is doing well at the moment is just running with Megan Dean. Every time Megan Dean takes the ball, Geitz is over her shoulder. That just lets the goal shooter know that you're there, that they've got to have safe hands or you'll get the ball. Sort of tactic that takes a full game to start to play off.
Tonna Wilkins just making the most of that, but you can see Geitz. She's an imposing character inside the circle, really puts a lot of defensive pressure on.
Absolutely, and I think she can only get better. I think she's got a lot of improvement in her game just around her footwork. So that will come as she gets older, and when that comes, she's going to be an outstanding goalkeeper, not only for the Firebirds, but for Australia.
Firebirds just stringing together another good run. They've scored the last 3 goals. The margin is 3 goals. Couple of minutes left in this first quarter. Huge stakes for both these sides. Great play from Geitz. Just flicked it away from Wilkins. Left her sprawling on the court, but that ball travelled over a third, Liz.
It did, Luke.
And that doesn't help the Firebirds because it's a turnover. Finally catching on. It's taken me 12 rounds. But it's a big play, though.
Huge play. Interesting with the steal, they're getting the ball down court beautifully to the edge of the circle. Then they're really struggling to find Dean and Wilkins in good position close to the post. Here you see Laura Geitz just using her strength and her power to come over the top of Wilkins from behind. It's been interesting just having a look at some of the New Zealand press this week. One of the things that they talk about as to why New Zealand teams can't win in Australia is simply because of the difference in umpiring. The New Zealand umpires don't let that sort of contest go, whereas Australian umpires do. And one of the New Zealand players said it was like running around for 60 minutes with a human backpack sometimes. So it's a tough thing to have to get used to if you're not, something you're not used to week in, week out.
Great work from Aiken. Got a hand in. Do you agree with that sentiment, Liz? Do you think that that is a big factor? Why then can the Australian teams go over New Zealand and win as we saw the Vixens do this weekend?
Well, it's probably because the Australian attackers don't have to get used to that physical nature. They're already used to it, and they go to New Zealand and play against a zone defence for an entire game. And they're given all this space, and they're really happy with it. So the New Zealand teams tend to get a lot of fantastic intercepts. The zone defence sets up for that. It's a great finish to the quarter for the Steel. They've got a little bit of work to do, though. Started off pretty well. Firebirds, though, it's really hard to stop Romilda Aiken when she's in a mood like tonight. She's getting up for the ball. She's coming out. She's moving. She's getting great service from Nurse, Greenway and Kastrissos. The Firebirds' defensive line, outstanding. They've started off particularly well to make it a low-scoring game.
Quarter time here at the Brisbane Convention Centre. And the final margin at quarter time is the Firebirds leading by 1 goal. Welcome back to the Brisbane Convention Centre, round 12 of the 2009 ANZ Championship. Both coaches understand how important this game is. It was a really even first quarter. Firebirds lead by just the 1 goal.
It's that shooting stat that's hurting Steel. Firebirds, though, not that much better, but they do have the ability to pick up plenty of rebounds through Romilda Aiken. A really low-scoring quarter, particularly given that Firebirds have such great scoring ability. So just means the defenders are doing their job, plenty of rebounds, only 1 intercept apiece. Everything else is reasonably even. Contact, obstruction, turnovers. It's a low... That turnover stat is low-ish. Both teams would like to bring it down, though. The turnovers, when they happen, often it's not about the fact that there's turnovers, it's about when they happen. In this game, it seems that the turnovers are snowballing when they do take place.
She's looked very sharp tonight so far, Romilda Aiken. Her body language, we've mentioned a couple of times. She's smiling and happy, and it's converted into a pretty good first quarter. 9 from 12.
Yeah, interestingly though, her and Kostrissos are getting some fantastic court position to shoot from. You can see in that shot chart then that most of their shots are coming under the post.
This is a big early call. Centre passes with Barrett Chase, but the call went against the steal, against Donna Wilkins. So Aiken is getting away from Hutton.
What Megan Hutton is finding out that with Romelda Aiken, even when you think you've done okay and pushed her out to halfway out of the circle, just that great split brings her back under the post again, puts her in fantastic shooting position.
So Aiken had the ball baseline. You rarely should see her take a shot from much further out than that. Always likes to work it closer to the post, and invariably that's what she gets. Still really need to score this goal. They can't afford to start the second quarter with a 3-goal run to the Firebirds. And here's Megan Dean. How have you seen her start these? It's 5 goals from 8 attempts.
Her movement is really good, so that's nothing that shocks us because she's got such great timing. That's one thing that she's great at. Shooting just hasn't quite looked comfortable and confident yet. If that happens and she starts to fire, look out.
Nice pass from Kostrissos to Aiken. Nicole Cusack, yeah, you got close to both coaches at quarter time. What were their messages?
Yeah, the Steel coach is very calm and very happy with how the team's going. Spent a lot of time with the shooters, wanting Megan and Wilkins to perhaps do positional changes, wanting Donna Wilkins to get into the circle and put the shots up. And then on the other hand, you've got Vicky wanting Alyssa to use a few more fakes and feeding the ball into Romelda and getting in herself. And she also asked Laura to keep, she was happy with her keeping man-on-man with Megan Dean. She's doing a good job.
Thanks to Kyle. And they've started particularly well in this second quarter. There was Vicky Wilson. Pretty happy with the way her side started. Pass back to Greenway, and now Nurse just goes underneath Barrett Chase, and the flick pass over the top from Kostrissos had Aiken in mind, but it hit the ring. So an opportunity for the Steel to work their way back into the second quarter.
This is where Steel have really struggled to penetrate so far this game. They moved the ball beautifully, particularly through Wilkins and Wilson to get the ball down to the circle, but they haven't been able to find their shooters close to the post. That's due to the really nice work from Geitz and Stevens. They're playing a little split circle as the ball gets closer to them.
Just explain the split circle again, Liz. You often talk about that as a tactic that you like, and it seems to be working tonight.
Yeah, it's just a defensive play that you use sometimes when you're playing against shooters. So if you want to particularly keep them out towards the edge of the circle, just split the circle essentially. So the goalkeeper takes one side and the goal defence takes the other side, and you start to take up space. What you have to be prepared to do though, if you're going to do that, is commit to the intercept if you see it. You can't just stand there.
There's Geitz working this time with Dean, but they weren't able to defend as well as they would have liked then, and that was pretty easy pass to Wilkins. So we'll still get the last two. Now here they go back to Aiken. Trouble when you play the Firebirds, they often get a quick reply goal, normally through Romelda Aiken.
They do, and they have the ability just to extend the lead very quickly just through a couple of turnovers. That's what they're about to do now.
See Grant there, just prepared to let Kostrissos, if I could say that, take the shot. And it was a good play because they forced her to take a step back towards the post, and she's missed. Quick transition here from the Steel.
Much better work. Every time the Steel get a one-on-one under the post between Stevens and Wilkins, the best approach is just over the top. Wilkins has a height advantage. She uses the body beautifully to hold. That's what they've got to do. They've got to start to isolate Stevens.
Good effort from Megan Dean. Her first game for the year, 3 weeks ago, she wouldn't have even thought about playing in the ANZ Championships. Whippiedi, the #1 scorer for the Steel, is pregnant, won't play for the rest of the year. And Megan Dean's accepted the call-up. She's now working with Donna Wilkins in tandem, and between the two of them, they've got the score back level. So challenge laid down to the Firebirds here. Kostrissos pass to Nurse. And she flicked one, and it went through the hands of Kastrissos. So good couple of minutes for the Steel. They've scored the last 4 goals.
This is where the experience of the Steel is really starting to tell. They've got players who are used to playing in big games. Dean Wilson has captained New Zealand. Donna Wilkins has played plenty of matches for her country. They're not afraid if they get down just to keep fighting. They know how to fight back, just to start to build, to eat into a lead. You don't have to do it all at once, but you have to keep doing it.
Turnover count on screen there. There's 8 apiece after that turnover for the Steel. Oh, nice work from Wilkins. She got her foot out and collected the ball. Is that legal?
Yeah, it is, as long as it's not deliberate. So as long as the umpire thinks that you've not actually kicked at the ball, but you've just moved your body, you can do it.
So she didn't deliberately put her foot there to stop the ball.
Luke Krill might argue with an umpire.
Well, you do it every other week. So why are you stopping there? Of course she tried to stop that with her foot. And she did. Well done.
Well. It's not an easy thing to do. Maybe Pim Verbeek will have a look at her.
Potentially. Tell you what, Vicky Wilson will be having a look at the moment. She stuck her foot out, stopped the ball beautifully.
Take it when you can get it.
As you told me, that should perhaps not be allowed. They've scored the last 6 goals, so they need this reply from Aitken. They get it. Margin back to a goal. And that one goes through the hands of Dean. The pressure from Geitz has been sensational.
Well, that's Megan Hutton's 13th penalty. She's starting to become expensive. She needs to get some intercepts as a return on that penalty count. Laura Geitz has given away 14 penalties, but has an intercept and 3 rebounds to a name. So, you know, when you're looking at defenders, it's okay if they're giving away penalties as long as it's not too many and as long as they balance it up with some possession.
I think Romelda Aiken just puts a few of those up just to get her rebound stats up. She likes being on top of every category, and she dominates rebounds because that's what she does. Had 4 already in this match. She's also the most prolific scorer in the ANZ Championship. Scores back level. And you can see the real double team now going on to Aitken, allowing Kastrissos to work outside the circle. I reckon that is the best play. You let Kastrissos shoot from anywhere and just try and work Aitken over.
Absolutely. You say, yep, you take the ball, you shoot, and if you can shoot out the full game and shoot 30 or 40 goals, you go for your life. That's the sort of pressure that you want to put on particularly a young goal attack who hasn't played a lot of netball at this level. Let her shoot.
Nice movement there. The pass from Dean was beautifully weighted to Donna Wilkins.
Just get the feeling that Dean and Wilkins are really starting to get an understanding of each other. Dean just starting to get a feel again for the speed and the pace that the game is played at this level.
There's Barrett Chase. And here's Megan Dean, who really looks comfortable now. Started a little nervously. That's her 8th goal.
Yeah, from 11 attempts, so she's sitting up at 73%. It's a dangerous sign for the Firebirds if Dean starts to get a timing and also get her eye on the shot.
So all of a sudden, the Steel open up a 2-goal margin. Vicky Wilson and the coaching staff from the Firebirds look on. There will certainly be some concern in their ranks at the moment. And again, the double team here on Aitken. Grant trying to get over the top. It's almost an impossible thing to do. So Wilkins pushing it back to Telfer, and here's Dean really starting to come into this game. Oh, and that ball just goes straight through the hands of Wilkins, and luckily for the Steel, it ended up with Barrett Chase.
Yeah, it was a nice play. She did well and got herself into great position under the post or by herself and forgot to catch the ball. It's an interesting...
smile there from Wilkins.
Just hang on. That'll turn up on a replay somewhere. Interesting contrast in style between both these teams. The Australian style of attacking play is often to wind the ball up with one hand and do the big one-handed shoulder pass. The New Zealand style of play is to deliver with 2 hands. You see that when you watch them passing. It's a totally different
crowd just keeping an eye here on Hutton and Aiken. There's a lot of work going on, but well done to Hutton. She really just upset Romelda a bit there. The pass was missed time, so they still get it. Here's Grant. Barrett Chase has had a big involvement in that game. In the game so far, the pass to Dean Wilson, and now here's Barrett Chase again. And Firebirds defenders at the moment just getting their communication wrong, Liz.
Yeah, both of them, that's a great work from Megan Hutton. Looks like both Geitz and Stevens are committing to the front move, so whichever one of the shooters, so it's up to Megan Dean, just takes that forward roll. They forget to guard the post, and that's where Donna Wilkins is sitting, so an important turnover. Firebirds have got to score off this one. They've got to get their confidence back. They've only shot 8 goals this quarter. That's a low return for a team with a prolific shooter like Romelda Aiken. They need the confidence.
Really working the double team on Aiken, but the pass was perfectly positioned for Romelda. And that's goal number 18. She's only shooting at 78%, but she's also got 4 rebounds to go with that. And a break on the centre pass. Big turnover. Megan Dean goes back to Katrina Grant. Contact against Greenway.
It's a great delivery from Dean. But also what Donna Wilkins did, just turned on a 10-cent piece just to create the space for her. That's what she's so good at.
It's a really interesting by-play in this game, watching Megan Dean, as I am for the first time play, Liz, and just seeing how smart she is, how well she moves. Potentially could have played goal attack for the Firebirds all year, an area that they've had heaps of trouble with. She was at the other end of the court. We might be looking at one of the dominant teams in the competition. As it stands, though, the Firebirds still fighting for that 4th spot on the ladder. They come up with an important play here. Double team on Aitken. Well delivered from Kostrissos. A long shot from Aitken. You don't see that too often, but she'll get another attempt.
Yeah, one of the things that Megan Dean does beautifully is to create play, to create space. She does that so efficiently. That's the sort of play that you'd love to have out in front of Romelda Aiken. In saying that, though, let's not take anything away from Melissa Kostrissos. I've been really impressed. Every time she comes on, she learns a little bit more. She grows and matures a little bit more as a player. She's starting to take on a greater role to force shots. She's not a hugely prolific shooter and she's not overly accurate, but she does make some nice space for Romelda Aiken.
Barrett Chase to Wilkins and back to Dean Wilson. Working the ball around the edge of the circle. Nice play from Nurse, but gave away the contact.
Dean Wilson's having a better outing this week than she did last week. I thought that she got really rattled by Andrea Gilmore, by the physical sort of tactics. Didn't like wearing body for a full game. She's going to get that tonight against Claire McMenamin, who's a really tight marking defender, but she's a bit more prepared for it tonight, and she's delivering much better ball, much better service to her shooters.
Well, Nurse just got collected there by Katrina Grant, and Greenway combining well with Aitken. That partnership has really developed as the season's gone on.
Good direct play from the Firebirds then, just came up the middle of the court, broke open the New Zealand style of zone defence. That's often the best corridor through the middle, but you need some decoy runners. Firebirds did it really well.
Great pressure there before from Geitz, and it was moved quickly down the court, and the crowd love Romelda Aiken. Really get animated when she is involved, which is often in the game. See her just trying to work for space here, and she does it beautifully.
The arm first, keeper. The arm before the distance. Keep that, stand front onto her. That's it.
So the Firebirds score the last 3 goals on the eve of half-time. They wrestled back a 1-goal margin, come up with possession.
Got to get the ball down quick. They'll look to lob it straight into Aitken. Really important that neither Grant nor Hutton give away a penalty. Successful in that, Romelda Aitken showing her displeasure at the fact she missed it.
Tonight, Romelda.
Pumped for a big game, and she's having it, absolutely dominating in that circle, shooting 22 goals. Not quite where we usually see her, but she is having a huge effect on the game. The Firebirds defensive unit doing a fantastic job, turning over plenty of ball in that circle, and it's been repaid beautifully by Aitken and Kastrissos.
There's a 1-goal margin at quarter time. It remains a 1-goal lead to the Firebirds at halftime.
Welcome back to the Brisbane Convention Centre. Half-time in a very important game. Round 12 of the 2009 ANZ Championship. The 2 teams fighting it out for the last spot in the finals. And that's how close it is, Liz. The Firebirds lead by just 1 goal.
Interesting looking at the shooting percentages. Firebirds sit well below Steel in that regard. But the reason they're ahead is if you go down 2 levels to the rebound stat, Romelda Aitken will get rebounds all night. So they can actually, we're one of the few teams that can afford to have their shooting statistics a little bit further down because their rebounds are up. That's what gets them the ball and gets them possession. And she's doing it again tonight.
We'll take a look at some of the first half highlights. Vicky Wilson's been renowned this year for making a lot of changes. Can you see one area that she'll be concerned about and a possible change at halftime?
Yeah, not particularly. Maybe in that defensive circle, I thought Geitz and Stevens just got out-fought a little bit towards the end of that second quarter. Having said that, they've had having a pretty good game before that, so they're just starting to find their feet, as Megan Dean and Donna Wilkins find their pairing as well. So I'd be tempted to leave as is. I think the Firebirds are putting in a really good effort, getting some turnovers. They've just been opened up and exposed a little bit by the speed of Dean and Wilkins. That is going to happen, though, with 2 great ball movers.
But an outstanding effort from Megan Dean there, playing her first game. She's an Australian. She has played before, of course, with the Southern Steel, Liz, but to have got a late call-up replacing Whippy Eadie and to perform the way she has done the first half, great effort.
Absolutely impressive, and the reason she's been able to do that is because her timing is so good. She doesn't need to be doing too much as a goal shooter. She simply needs to pop out when she's needed, and she's doing it.
Full crowd in tonight to watch this game. The Firebirds chasing a spot in the finals. We'll find out after this break if they can beat the Southern Steel and almost assure themselves a chance to play finals this year.
Welcome back to the Brisbane Convention Centre. The Net Set Go girls doing their thing at half-time. Very talented young girls this afternoon, Liz. Impressed with the way they pass the ball around.
Yeah, when they grow up, they might be still on this court, just in a different coloured uniform. I'm sure they'd love to turn up and play for the Firebirds. Interesting, Megan Hutton getting lots of attention. What a lot of the teams do, it's a 10-minute half-time break. Teams generally will warm up at the end of the half-time break, just do a little drill to get their feet and hands moving again. Megan Hutton didn't take any part in that, so interesting to see. Yep, she's taking the court, so just maybe she didn't feel like warming up, but she did look like she was getting a nice pack to her neck.
She certainly was. Nicole Cusack, just 1 positional change at half-time.
Yeah, Firebirds, there's no change, but Steel have changed over Megan Dean and Donna Wilkins. Megan has the ability to read the game well and combines with Donna, creating a lot of movement and space in the circle. My concerns early on were with Megan's fitness, but if anything, she's like warmed up to the game, and she even managed to shoot 100% in that last quarter.
Thanks to Cole. She certainly did, Megan Dean. They've pushed her out. Great stuff from Barrett Chase. She's been a very solid player in the first half.
That was a really great approach then from the Steel. The ball moved beautifully down court. It's a little bit dangerous for the Firebirds if Steel is just getting a little run like that. They need someone just to take the initiative, perhaps give away a penalty, slow the play up.
And you can see the look on Megan Dean's face. The call was a break. She jumped and tried to time it, Liz, and she thought she'd got away with it, but she hadn't. And the Firebirds take advantage. They get it quickly to Aitken. And she may miss from there, but it doesn't matter because she'll get a rebound and she'll put it in straight afterwards.
Interesting on the centre pass. A lot of attacking players do try and time that. You can get a good jump on your opposition if you time that well, but it is a bit of a risk.
Nice fake from Kostrissos on the centre pass, and you can see they're prepared to let her go up there as often as she likes. In an attempt to stop Aitken, but that's not working on this occasion. There it is again. Short shot and rebound number 5. Goal number 24. So the Southern Steel chasing the first win on Australian soil for a New Zealand team. And they are right in this contest. They trail by a goal, but more importantly, they are chasing 4th spot on the ladder and a chance to play in the finals in 2009. Greenway goes back to McMenamin. So Aitken, a couple of fakes, and then it's about as far as she ever shoots from, Liz.
Yeah, she's not prepared to take that long shot. I'm sure that's something that Vicky Wilson is working on her with, but doesn't have to. What she's very good at being able to do is just dish back, set up again. It's really hard to defend someone that tall when the ball's at the edge of the circle. It's difficult to get your timing right on the jump, and Romilda Aitken is just so tall and has such long arms. She can take just about anything that gets dished at her.
Barrett Chase gets tangled up there with Lauren Nurse.
Contact centre.
Great defensive work from Geitz. Got rid of Wilkins, came up athletically with the ball, and beautiful movement.
The Firebirds have just done to Steel what Steel have been doing to them. That transition play is so important. The Firebirds really quick into attack from a great turnover. That'll lift their team.
Bring him here, shooter. Here, shooter. Centre, move up. You're out of play. No, inside the circle. Give the ball
So
to the
interestingly,
shooter.
this penalty is being...
Give the ball to the shooter. Listen to, yes, back, shooter. You're out of play, Sector.
Umpire just directing traffic there in a very stern sort of manner, Liz.
Very stern manner, but she was saying to Leanna Barrett Chase, that's enough, that's deliberate, the ball is going to be moved in. So Barrett Chase has essentially just given away a professional foul, and the umpire didn't like it.
Here's Dean, who's been pushed out to goal attack. Working with Barrett Chase, and she just is working beautifully at the moment, Megan Dean. Nice pass over the top to Wilkins.
Yeah, she played a practice match earlier in the week and played a half-at-goal shooter and a half-at-goal attack. I reckon she's blowing a little bit at the end of the half-at-goal attack, so this will really test her fitness. The advantage is that she's got a Dean Wilson and Leanna Barrett Chase in front of her as Peter Stevens comes up with fantastic intercept. She's got 2 really good ball movers in front of her, so she doesn't have to do too much work.
Fantastic take from Aitken. She just offloaded it to Kostrissos, who fumbled but's come up with possession. Hutton just working overtime there on Aitken.
So Megan Hutton called for obstruction, just had her hands up in front of Romilda Aitken's face when Aitken wasn't in possession of the ball. The rule is you've got to keep your hands below your hips, and Megan Hutton wasn't doing that. It's probably a rule that you could have done with yesterday, Luke.
Might have been in a bit of trouble, had the hands up most of the afternoon.
This game's an interesting game. The intensity just seems to go up and down a little bit. Neither team has managed to put it together for the full 15 minutes. Both teams coming in and out. You just feel, though, that Firebirds are starting to build their way to that level of intensity that they need to match what is at stake in this game.
Firebirds have opened up a 4-goal lead. Only had a 1-goal margin at half-time.
It's a great take from Dean Wilson. She knew that she had Laura Geitz coming at her, was able to take balance, sight Donna Wilkins and deliver her the ball.
Aitken working outside the circle. It's a rarity to see a venture out there, and there's Donna Wilkins just screaming some instructions from way back in the attack end. Aitken just rolls that one in. Donna Wilkins scored 20 goals from 22 attempts. And possession really important here for the Steel. Dean goes back to Wendy Telfer.
See the physical work going on in that circle. Dean and Wilkins muscling up on the defenders. Geitz and Stevens equal to that challenge. But there's a lot of pushing and shoving going on. The advantage for Steele is that Megan Dean is used to that style of play. She had a number of years with the Swifts before going to Steele last year, so she knows what it's all about. She's used to running around with a human backpack. Knows how to get away from it. Often it's just a case of moving your feet, stepping off the player and then making your move.
And you're right, she has got better the longer the game's gone on. Runs marathons in her spare time, so fitness not an issue, although playing specifically always a challenge. We haven't been out in the court for a while, but she hasn't struggled at all tonight.
No, she's incredibly efficient in what she does. If you watch her, she doesn't waste moves. She doesn't do a lot of running around that she doesn't have to do. She's a good ball distributor. The test for her fitness will come towards the end of the game, though. Often adrenaline will carry you. If she's performing well at the end of the game, then it's reasonably miraculous.
Let's watch Barrett Chase there run into the grandstand and then come back.
It's a long way to go around.
I have not seen that done before, this.
Well, you're allowed to do it. The centre could run off court and run behind the circle, avoiding signage and the umpire, of course, and the crowd. There's a long way to go around. It takes you out of play, but if you're quick enough, which Leona Barrett Chase is, it's a good way to get from point A to point B.
So you still really need to stay in touch. Megan Dean does that. Centre pass back with Lauren Nurse. 3-goal margin halfway through the third quarter. Finals opportunity up for grabs. So huge stake in this game. And Aiken, who just unloads the ball back into the face of Hutton. So bit of feeling in this game. Both sides know how big an opportunity this is tonight. Oh, ball hung in the air for Geitz. She went searching for it. Couldn't come up with the intercept.
The risk you take when you do something like that is of leaving your other fellow defender with a 2-in-1 situation, which is what Stevens had to counter. She had both Dean and Wilkins back in the circle. If those sort of intercepts come off, you look like a superstar. If they don't, you've got your goal defence saying, hey, how about a little bit of help in here?
Incredibly impressed with Megan Dean, Liz. She's got great touch, although I think she's just been called for a stepping.
Yeah, she has.
But her ball skills and her movement and her, as you said, her efficient play, someone who's been out of the game the whole season. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and what she does is bring other players around her into the game as Lauren Nurse gives away a footwork penalty of her own. That style of play tends to make the players around her look good. Donna Wilkins will be really appreciating the ball that she's receiving from Megan Dean. Dean Wilson, her job's been made a bit easier, as has Leona Barrett Chase, simply by Megan Dean being prepared to go out and look for the ball.
Just watching your girl Donna Wilkins there with a very pained expression on her face. Laura Geitz climbing over the top. And you can see a bit of contact. She throws her body around.
Just in case the umpire didn't see it. Just making sure.
Making sure. Aiken just rocks back on the baseline and misses. Hutton contesting the rebound, and Aiken gives away the penalty.
That's a big play by Megan Hutton. You just get the feeling every time the Firebirds lift, still just go with them. They find something extra. Like to see them start to dictate their own tempo, to start to put their stamp on the game. It looks like it just feels like they're following the Firebirds' intensity levels. They've got the players who can do that.
Yes, so shooter, sorry.
Donna Wilkins there just explaining the umpire on the goal shooter. If you want to call it against me, at least get it right. And she's still not happy at the other end of the court.
Well, interesting, sometimes Donna Wilkins does give away a lot of penalties for an attacking player. It's her basketball background that comes in, and she uses the body so well to set up, but that sometimes does put her in the sort of situation where she'll give away a penalty, and there's feeling down the other end.
Defense obstruction, centre third.
There is a lot of feeling in this game. Physical clashes everywhere. Wilkins and Geitz at one end, and inside the defensive circle at this end, Megan Dean getting involved as well. As you would expect, both sides looking for their first chance to play in a final. Neither of them good enough to do it in the inaugural season last year. And we've got a very close game on our hand. It's just a one-goal margin. Here's Wilkins saying, hey, I'm the goal shooter.
Get it right.
Get it right.
So still setting up this zone defence, and when they've set it up and done it well, they've managed to slow down the Firebirds' approach. That plays into their hands simply because the Firebirds are really good when they're delivering fast ball to Aitken.
Here's Megan Dean. Baseline pass to Wilkins. She has to go back across to Barrett Chase. Just got the feeling this game is going to be very close. Go right down to the wire.
And you sort of get the feeling that as the game goes on, there's going to be more bodies on the ground, more physical confrontation. Great to watch.
Yep.
Well, the guys working overtime there in the circle, putting a fair bit of pressure on this pass, and that is what the result is. Barrett Chase went for the impossible underground roll, which was never going to help. So great work from Geitz and Peter Stevens inside the circle.
It's a really tough ball to deliver because often the shooter's using a body. She's really upright to create the space, and the delivery is so important.
Steele have got it back though. Turnover count, 19 to the Steele, and 16 to the Firebirds.
Another attacking penalty going against Steele. Barrett Chase not happy, doesn't understand why.
So umpires getting involved a lot in this game. As in any contest, you prefer it when you're not hearing as much whistle from the umpires, and they've certainly been heavily involved tonight. Fair to say, let go a lot more. And a couple of goals in a row to the Firebirds. They get the centre pass as well. Here's Peter Stevens.
Still need a turnover here. They've managed to stay in this contest, but they've got to start to eat into the Firebirds' leads in the final stages of this third quarter.
It's a big minute and a half. They trail by 4. They need this goal, and ideally they need another quick turnover. They'll have to go into three-quarter time just within a goal or two. Can't afford this to blow out. Defensive pressure has gone up here from the Firebirds, sensing how important this last minute is. Oh, nice pass from Megan Dean.
Great take from Donna Wilkins. Gave a little look to Peter Stevens. Not happy even when she's playing well.
She's entertaining. Long ball goes into Aitken.
Got to say I'm impressed with Trina Grant and Megan Hutton. Before the game, I didn't think they had the ability to get up there and match it with Aitken, but they've done a good job. They've managed to keep their team in there. They're getting turnovers, pouncing on the few rebounds and loose balls that come their way. Having a great game.
Important possession again here, and Stevens came out in search of the intercept, and it allowed Wilkins some space. Enough time for the Firebirds to score. They'll sense that they haven't got long to go, and that's the play that you expect to Aitken. Will she beat the whistle?
Yes, she will. Well, a fantastic third quarter from the Firebirds, just able to lift the intensity a little bit. Still went with them for most of that quarter, but as we've seen so often, Firebirds have a great ability to score quickly through Romelda Aitken. Defensively, they're doing a good job. Plenty of push and shove going on. What I think we're going to see in this last quarter is 14 committed players out on court, all wanting that last spot in the finals.
The final spot up for grabs. The Firebirds lead by 4 goals. Three-quarter time at the Brisbane Convention Centre. Vicky Wilson has got a very steely look in her eyes, talking with her players, and as have the Southern Steel coaching staff, Robin Broughton there, understanding how important this game is, Liv.
Really important, and you can see the stats reflect that. Plenty of contact penalties, lots of players out there putting their bodies on the line for the ball. Interesting, that turnover stat has really crept up for the Steel. That's what's allowed Firebirds to build out to that break. In that quarter then, Firebirds scored 14 goals, Steel scored 11. So Firebirds are up despite the fact that only sitting at 77%. Steel started to work into the game towards the end of that first half. Then they made the positional switch between Megan Dean and Donna Wilkins. What that meant, though, was Wilkins often started to come out of the circle looking for the ball. That left her and Dean up court, no one at home under the post. I think that's, more than anything else, is what stifled their goal scoring, because they're all moving the ball beautifully. They just need someone to be under the post looking for it.
Vicky Wilson said before the game, this is a season-defining game for my team. If we win, we're a chance to play finals. I'm sure the Steel feel the same way. I'm going to go down now to Nicole Cusack, because the Steel have made a number of changes. They trailed by 4 goals, Nicole, and they've swung the changes.
Yeah, they've coach has taken off Megan Hutton at goalkeeper and brought on Selby Rickett. The wing defence, Wendy Telfer's off for Erica Burgess has come on, and then she's changed Megan and Donna Wilkins over as Donna's gone down.
That was a really heavy
Massive
hit.
clash, and Donna Wilkins in a lot of pain, and she may well have copped an elbow to the throat there, and she's not in a good way, which is a really devastating thing for them. They got the first goal of the final quarter. They've made a heap of changes, which Nicole was just going through. And let's hope she's going to be up and okay.
Yeah, that was a really heavy hit. The Anna Barrett chase coming through. Both players only had eyes for the ball.
Friendly fire. It was the elbow from Barrett Chase.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when your own teammate cleans you up. It's not great for team harmony when you come off the court and you're like, mate, you're not looking after me. But it just shows with the commitment from both teams. Wilkins and Barrett Chase simply having eyes for the ball. Total disregard for life and limb. Interesting the changes that Robin Broughton has made. Selby Rickett did a great job last week when she came on for Megan Hutton at goalkeeper. It's really important for her that she picks up some ball early for her team. I reckon Donna Wilkins will play on, but she's going to have a nasty bruise in that area tomorrow.
I got the similar knock yesterday when you very callously swung the ball around.
Learn to get back your 3 feet a bit quicker, Luke.
She looks like she'll be okay, Donna. And they need her out there because this is their finals chance on the line. And she has been an important player. She's shot at 93%, 26 from 28. She's going to line up again on Peter Stevens. And importantly, though, for the Steel, they had possession. Here's Burgess, one of the changes, and Donna Wilkins up and about, moving okay.
Straight back into play. That's a good sign for the Steel. I like her better out at goal attack when she sat at goal shooter. It looked like she was going out to look for the ball. Megan Dean wasn't quite at the post yet. This gives them a much better balance.
There she is again, Donna. She's entertaining. She certainly makes the most of any sort of contact, but she's also an incredibly important player. They've reduced the margin in the first minute and a half back to 2 goals. And they have possession, and Donna Wilkins an opportunity to get it back to a goal. And that's a nasty miss, but the rebound comes up with Megan Dean.
This goes to show Megan Dean's great timing. She's the shortest player in the circle. Read the rebound well, read the flight of the ball well. Didn't have to do too much to come up with possession. It's great to see Vicky Wilson not make any changes throughout this match. This Firebirds team is a team that will really benefit from just running in game time together.
Strissos has a miss. Aitken not happy with the attention she was getting underneath the post from Selby Rickett. So an outstanding start. Steel have scored the last 3 goals and a critical turnover. See Selby Rickett now just really working hard on Aitken.
See Lauren Nurse, that balk that she did was really effective then. It moved Grant onto Kastrissos, left Aitken in a one-on-one situation. So if you use that ball fake effectively, you can really move defenders.
Rebound number 6, goal number 37 for Aitken. There's her new opponent. That was a very important steadying goal for the Firebirds. Megan Dean goes back to the Arnie Barrett chase and then works hard. So a bit of hesitation on the shot. Not really confident from that far back, although she rocks back on the shot, but great rebounding from Wilkins.
It's one of her great strengths. She creates space with the body, really strong through the upper body, able to pull the ball in despite plenty of people around her pushing and shoving.
So Kostrissos, confidence gone a little bit. She's played the whole game. She's only put up 8 shots and only made 4 of them. So Selby Rickett backing back into Aitken. Sense there's going to be a lot of tension the longer this game goes and the closer the margin gets.
The Firebirds lost a couple of close games earlier in the year, heartbreakingly so against the Thunderbirds. Cape Beveridge sinking them in a goal after the final whistle. Also had a really close loss to Melbourne Vixens, but it made amends with, well done Selby Rickett. She really watched that well. They made amends with a really thrilling win over the Swifts. That will give them confidence should this game go down to the wire.
This is a big play, Liz. Come up with possession. Here's Grant to Burgess. Can't afford a turnover now. Really put the pressure back on and just take a bit of the noise out of this Queensland crowd. Wilkins a long way back.
It's a missed opportunity then for Steele. They had Peter Stevens out of the circle. Would have liked to have seen Dean and Wilkins set up for a move closer to the post. This means they've got to do the extra work now, and Firebirds have come up with a great intercept through Claire McMenamin.
Kostrissos out in their own. The double team really working overtime on Aitken, but she's up to the challenge.
Great transition play then from the Firebirds. Just coming up with the intercept, moving the ball safely down court.
And Dean just lobbed the pass over to Wilkins and she stepped in close to the post. Number 2 being held up there, Liz, on the interchange. Any idea what that means?
Nope.
I reckon it means Erica Burgess come up with an intercept, and that's exactly what she did.
It'd be nice if that was all it took. We've seen Steele do that a lot this year. They've got some sort of system going on from their bench.
So it's a brilliant opportunity for the Steel to get back in the lead, but every time they get close, the Firebirds come up with possession.
Yeah, Megan Teen just giving away a contact call then. Not quite sure. Dean Wilson called for contact.
Said it before three-quarter time that the umpires are having a big impact on this game. Let's hope they just let it go a little bit more. Such a massive game in the season of 2009. Fourth versus fifth, playing for fourth spot.
You'd hate to see some sort of technical rule overshadow what has been a really close, hard-fought contest between two teams. Fairly desperate situations.
See the move, Selby Rickett's really starting to put a bit more pressure on Aitken, although she's up to the challenge there.
A clever play from Aitken, just used the footwork, got herself off the body of Selby Rickett. It allowed her to exploit that baseline. It's something that Selby Rickett probably wasn't expecting. Tall goal shooter putting on the moves.
Wilkins goes back to Burgess, and you can see the one-on-one defence of the Firebirds, just creating a bit of doubt in all these passes from the New Zealanders. Megan Dean, the steadying influence. She's been fantastic in her first game.
Dean Wilson called for pausing again. Something
I reckon that is a really, really tough call and a really ordinary call.
It's one of those sort of technical rules. Sort of get the feeling that if it's not interfering with what's going on, not having an impact on the match, let it go. That's a 2-goal turnaround. Could be a really crucial part of the game, determined by whistle.
I reckon the New Zealanders will feel really hard done by at this stage in the game. They've had a couple of technical ones go their way, and they're a bit of frustration keeping, and they really need to just keep control of their emotions because they're really putting some pressure on the Firebirds. Well, a 3-goal run really helps their chances. They extend the margin to 4 goals. Beautiful play there. And Megan Dean finds herself unattended under the post.
Laura Geitz has gone for a couple of those sort of intercepts tonight. Hasn't really come off with one of them. Her primary aim has to be to sit at the post, sit with Megan Dean. Don't let her into the match.
Aiken gets goal number 43. That's the obstruction count. 31 to the steal, 15 to the Firebirds. Long pass across the centre to Wilson, and Geitz hits the deck.
Gets penalised for a trouble. That obstruction count that's so heavily against the steal. It's just a reflection of the way you have to play when you play against someone like Romelda Aitken. Their defensive plan will be to get plenty of hands up over the ball, over the deliverer.
Great work from Wilson, and equally good play from Grant. Big turnover. They need to convert this into a goal, the steal, and really just ask the question, the Firebirds, against their home crowd, who are very vocal.
Sort of play that can really lift the team. Good teamwork, good communication. And they turn it into a goal.
Big shot here from Megan Dean. She's equal to the challenge. And they've also got the centre pass. So again, huge amount of whistle. Umpires heavily involved in this game. Megan Dean's been outstanding in her first game this year for the steal. Beautiful pass from Wilson. Margin back to a goal. 5.5 minutes to go. Pressure goes back onto the Queensland Firebirds.
See how much work Wilson and Wilkins are doing in that mid-court, defending, just getting their hands up, forcing the Firebirds to go parallel with their passing. It's a dangerous sign.
You can see they're letting Kastrissos have as much space as she wants. Although there's a genuine push in the back there. We think Kastrissos is going to look for Aitken here.
On your land.
Romelda Aitken looks cool, calm and collected. If her teammates can stay the same way, they're looking good. Southern still, though, just not letting them get any sizable lead through the match. They haven't had the lead since before half-time, but they've not let the Firebirds build out to too much.
You can see how animated the coaching staff of the Steel are. Got to remind everyone again, no New Zealand team has been good enough to win a game on Australian soil. And this is about as close as it gets. 1 goal margin, under 5 minutes to go in the game. Make that 2 goals. And have a look at how excited they are. They really sense an opportunity. Barrett Chase with a centre pass. Firebirds have been involved in some heartbreaking losses this season. Oh, Megan Dean, she has had a fantastic game. Goal number 16.
She had a couple of early nervous misses, but she settled in. She looks like she's found a rhythm. She looks comfortable on the shot.
Pass or shot. Back in, shooter. In towards the court. Defence inside now. Goal defence, stand off her arm. No, back goal shooter with her. Back with her. Yes.
Back goal shooter with her. Reminds me, I always feel like I'm back at school when the umpires get involved, getting told off again.
I'm sure you would have been told off.
Oh, Burgess, Kastrissos involved. Henry goes against her. 3 minutes to go in this game, and a final spot is up for grabs.
It's really important for both teams that they just stay positive, that they keep moving the ball down. You can't get negative, you can't start to protect your lead for the Firebirds. Really important possession for them, but they've got to be positive. They've got to move the ball down court, look to score.
Well, that ball, I reckon, was 3/4 in, and then it decided to roll out defensive rebound comes up the way of the Firebirds, and this is a big moment in this match. Greenway passes to Aiken, and she puts on a little bit of a party trick.
Why not?
Look at that, that ball was in. And rolled back out.
It's good positive play for the Firebirds. Moving the ball down court quickly. They're not interested in protecting the lead. They want to build it.
And that's exactly what they've done. Responded to the challenge. Full credit to the Southern Steel, though. It's 4th versus 5th. It's exactly what you would have hoped in this game. The number 2 sign gets held up again. Maybe that one means 2 minutes to go, which is just crept below that. And they didn't intercept. It has to happen now. Burgess comes out. They've left Greenway alone, and Kastrissos, she won't want to shoot. And
Where you are, shooter.
Another penalty. That's
a soft penalty.
Soft penalty, and there's 81 penalties the Southern Steel have given away. That's going to happen in a game like this.
Well, here it is. An unbelievable miss from Aiken, and for once, a defensive rebound to the Steel. We've got 1:10 to go. They need to score quickly. They'll get the next centre pass, so an opportunity here.
They've got to go long, and they've got to go quick.
And Dean, smart enough to realise that.
Couldn't tell you what that was for. Maybe using the post.
Well, I reckon she used the post. She got shoved into it from Geitz. And
here's a
far be it
turnover.
from me to criticise the umpires, but they have had a disappointing night tonight. So I'm going to anyway. They've had a shocker. Geitz comes in for the intercept. Down to 30 seconds.
Well, still have got possession, but every time the whistle blows, it eats into time. Firebirds will be happy to get away with this match. It's been really hard fought affair. Both teams grinding away.
Megan Dean gets goal number 18. Time's going to beat the Steel, though, even with this centre pass. Well done, Peter Stevens.
Well, great play, Peter Stevens, to finish off the game. Fitting for the game finish with an intercept to their captain. She looks like she's back in form after having some calf issues early in the year. Fantastic work for the Firebirds too. This place is becoming a little bit of a fortress for them. They've started to string a few great wins here together. They led for most of that match, particularly in that second half, was where they really started to establish the lead. They weren't able to run away with it, mainly because of some fantastic defensive work from Sylvie Rickett. She came on and did a fantastic job against a much taller opponent. You would suggest, or you'd think, that the Firebirds in this win have started to just put one hand on that 4th spot on the ladder. They're looking at their first ever finals berth.
And they look to me to be a very dangerous side, the Firebirds, as you mentioned before. Sure, the Magic, the Vixens and the Thunderbirds, who filled the other 3 places, will be nervous about taking on that girl in particular, Imelda Aiken, who is an absolute star, so hard to defend and really dangerous come finals time, Liz.
Yeah, it's her presence that makes them such a bogey team to play. They can score quickly through her. They've got a really young, enthusiastic defensive line. No one will want to play against them come the finals.
Speaking of stars, Laura Geitz is an out-and-out star, and she is with Nicole Cuso.
Laura, great game. Another close one, another nail-biter. But very important win, and great to get the 2 points.
Yeah, definitely making a habit of these close wins, but just so fantastic. That was a do or die for us, so we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, so what was the focus coming into tonight's game?
We knew that they'd want it just as much as us, and we knew that they were going to come onto the ball strongly, and we really just had to work for the whole 60 minutes. So we were very, we'd done a lot of work at training on shutting them down, and obviously there's some Donaloff Hagan and Megan Anderson there in the circle are very strong, so we knew we'd be up for a huge challenge.
Yeah, a very experienced attack end. Lots of movement in the circle. How'd you cope with that movement?
Yeah, as you can probably tell, I'm breathing heavy a little bit, but no, we were just so happy with that.
Yeah, it was a great win. And last game at home, crowd will be pretty happy.
Look, the crowd for us is just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting us.
Good luck with your next 2 games.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks to Nicole. Ramona Aiken just a little distressed after this game, and it's a wry smile, but she had the ice pack on the head, and she was unbelievable. 48 goals and had a lot of physical attention. Selby Rickett was a player that came on and did a pretty good job, but no one really able to compete with her. And as we said a few times, can't wait to see her in a final. She really could be someone that takes it up to the top 3 sides.
Yeah, and you would assume that the Firebirds will get there. They've got a bit of an easier run home. They've got a couple of away games. Still, though, have a tough run home. Reckon Firebirds have just about got that 4th position sewn up.
And now Nicole Cusack with Megan Dean.
Megan, you had a great game. First game back after a few, like now almost a season off.
Yeah, it was exciting to be called back, and then, you know, today I just kind of realised that, oh my God, I'm going to be playing tonight. So there was a few nerves before the game, and took me a few minutes to get into it. But yeah, I was fairly comfortable for most of the game.
Yeah, there were some great patches throughout the game. The movement in the circle was really good, but just unable to finish it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different style of play with me at goal shooter instead of Danica, so I guess that's a big ask for everyone in the team to get used to that in, you know, with 1 or 2 training sessions this week. So I guess we'll just keep growing in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we can push for the top 4.
Yeah, you've got a pretty tough match next week against the Thunderbirds. How do you think you'll go?
Well, I think we were pretty solid tonight. There's just a few areas we need to tidy up on, and finishing off on the turnovers. We turned over a lot of ball and defence, but threw it away at crucial times. So we'll just be working on that. And it's in New Zealand, so we've got a home crowd, and we're feeling pretty strong. So hopefully it'll be good.
Tight finish for 4th place. Very important the next 2 games for you.
Yeah, definitely. We really need to win the next 2 games to, you know, push for the top 4. If we lose the next one, then there's probably no chance. So we need to be really strong in the next 2 games.
Okay, well, good luck with those.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Megan Dean there. Run home. They play next Monday night, the Adelaide Thunderbirds in Dunedin, which will be a tough game against Adelaide, who have secured their spot in the finals already. And then the following week, their last game is against the Swifts, who will be a dangerous opponent as well. Megan Dean, that is an outstanding effort to come in, get a call up about a week and a half ago. Whippy Edie obviously pregnant, won't play a further part. She had 18 goals from 22 attempts at 82%, which is a phenomenal effort. Nicole Cusack now is with Ramona Aiken.
Hi, Romelda. Great win for you tonight. Copped a lot of attention there in the circle off the defenders.
Well, I was expecting it. Coming off tactics game, I was just out there just playing, just reflecting on tactics game, and just did my job.
You were quite strong in there and kept it nice and calm. A few little misses, but you managed to get those rebounds. Did you do that purposely to keep your stats up?
Kind of like messed up my stat sheet, but at the end of the day, we won. So
your rebound stats are looking good, though.
Yeah.
Next couple of games are good. 2 games to play.
Yeah, 2 more games to go, and hopefully we'll be in the finals.
Yeah, well, good luck with those.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nicole. It just makes me smile every time. I love the Jamaican accent and the laid-back approach, Liz. He's just a unique person in the game.
And it's just that personality that actually is a really calming influence. The Firebirds have had a couple of close games, and she is the one who's delivered. She doesn't let the occasion get to her. She doesn't let the pressure get to her. She just stands there and shoots, and does it often enough to be pretty deadly at it. So, yeah, she's a great one for the Firebirds to have sitting back there.
Next 2 weeks, the Firebirds go to Auckland next Saturday to play the Mystics, and then their final game Monday night the following week against the West Coast Fever, which could be the one that gets them into the Final 4. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the votes, your votes, Liz Ellis, for the Holden Cruise Player of the Year.
I'm Laura Geitz, and this was my Monday night.
Laura Geitz had a great Monday night. She was causing havoc everywhere. That was the very first ball that went into the Steel attack line, and Geitz was there attacking it. Not only did she have a go at the ball, she had a go at a few players, and spent a little bit of time on the ground for her efforts, but incredibly effective, just working around the body. being a pest down there, which is the job of all goalkeepers, Luke, and she'll be pretty happy with her efforts tonight.
Interesting to speak to Vicky Wilson, saying that she's prepared to rotate her a bit, but from our end, we think she should be out there all the time because she's highly effective. So is Romelda Aitken, had a lot of physical attention, but was as effective as always. Yeah,
Alyssa Kastrissos not really in the goals tonight. I'm sure Vicky Wilson would like to see a little bit more output from her, although she is delivering beautiful ball into Aitken. It was great to see Megan Dean come onto the court tonight for the first time in 12 months and do a fantastic job. Shot really well, but also distributed the ball really well as well for her team.
I reckon that's an interesting story tonight, that Megan Dean potentially was going to play the whole season with the Firebirds. As I said, first time I've seen her play live, and here she is. Incredibly effective. First up performance like that, having not played all year. When the Firebirds take nothing away from Kastrissos, who's improving and learning, but just seemed to be a different option to have Megan Dean out there tonight for the steal.
Oh, look, I'm sure they would love, Firebirds would love to have the calibre of someone like Megan Dean. Personal reasons to keep her at home. There are plenty of niggle in the game tonight. You could see just what was at stake for both teams. Donna Wilkins never leaves you in any doubt as to the fact that she thinks she deserves a penalty, but she does use her body beautifully. It was a great battle to watch between her and Peter Stevens tonight. I reckon Peter Stevens might have just come up with the points. Liana Barrett-Chase just about taking a teammate out there and just having a laugh, but it wasn't particularly funny at the time. So I reckon there'll be plenty of players heading for the ice baths tonight and needing the ice packs to go to sleep with.
Well, it's what you would hope when such a big game, so much at stake, 4th versus 5th, and the Firebirds came out on top. And as you said, contact penalties fairly even right across the game, but just seemed to be a lot of umpire involvement in this game, Liz.
Absolutely, and there's over 120 whistles going on in the game. A lot of those contact penalties came at fairly crucial moments for the steal. I'm sure they'll go back and have a look at that tape and be a little bit unhappy about some of the things that they see. They received a lot of attention tonight from both umpires. Turnovers remained pretty low despite the fact that there was so much at stake in this game. It's what made the game so entertaining. There was some really good netball played out there tonight. Both teams going hammer and tongs in defence but delivering some really great ball.
Nothing worse than criticising umpires. But I think as a rule in sport, and I know they've got to call what they see, but when you watch a game and you see it let go, and it just seems to be a lot more entertaining rather than little technical things that were brought up. But anyway, I'll get over it. Your votes, the Holden Cruise Player of the Year. We've only got a couple of rounds to go, and it's a real New Zealand-Australian battle going on. Who'd you give your votes to tonight?
Well, Peter Stevens got 3 votes, had 3 intercepts, 1 rebound. She did a great job on Donna Wilkins. She gave away plenty of height and a little bit of brawn as well, but she came up trumps. 2 votes to Romelda Aitken, 48 from 59 and 81%. You cannot go past that. She is absolutely crucial for the Firebirds' chances. And 1 vote to Megan Dean. Not only shot fantastically well, 18 from 22 at 82%, despite a nervous start. Her ball distribution was just outstanding tonight, created space, delivered great ball, but Peter Stevens did really well.
Yeah, what an outstanding effort from Megan Dean. This is what they're playing for. The all-new Holden Cruise, an unbelievable new small car courtesy of Holden. The winner will get their own Holden Cruise. There's airbags, there's an MP3 player, incredible amount of leg room. We got to test drive them before anyone in Australia is, and they are a sensational new small vehicle with plenty of space, and the winner will get their own Holden Cruise. Nat Romberto and Casey Williams sitting on top, but Coletto, McMahon, probably those 4 will fight it out over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, I think that top 5 is going to make up the winner. Tonight's votes don't have an impact on what goes on later on in the year, the last 2 rounds. It'll be really interesting to see who comes up with that.
Yeah, heaps of interest in the Holden Cruise Player of the Year. Donna Wilkins had an interesting night. $1,000 will go to the Metropolitan District Netball Club, Peter Stevens Junior Club. Our friends in New Zealand won't be all that happy tonight because the Southern Steel ended up going down to the Queensland Firebirds. It was 52 to 50.
Holden's proud to be the driving force behind the ANZ Championship and proud to bring you all new Holden Cruise. Coming soon.